All right, I will call the meeting to order. If you could all just state your name for the record.
Robert Kelly, Budget Committee.
Megan Sabasco, School Board.
Ellen White, Town Administrator.
Tim DeBrio, Select Board.
Gene Reed, public member.
Maureen Campiola, public member.
Has anybody had a chance to review the minutes yet?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Would like to make a motion?
I had questions, but I don't know, I wasn't here, so I don't know if I'm allowed to ask questions about what I read.
Okay.
But, can I?
Sure.
Yeah. All right, so one of the things in here, it says, Bob Kelly questioned about the ARPA funds, and it says here it can be used for any municipal purpose, but that's not actually true, from everything that I read about ARPA, so I'm just concerned that that's, again, this happened months ago.
We should probably clarify.
Yes, that needs to be clarified, because it cannot be used for just anything that you want it to be used for.
Correct.
There's specific requirements that fall under ARPA, and it's not anything we want it to be, just because it has to do with the town.
Okay, so,
I wonder, it does say in line like 34, 36, 37, it does say several projects have been identified that may be funded through ARPA. Although they're not really.
they're not necessarily projects.
Yeah. And I don't think they meet the qualification necessarily for CIP, correct?
Oh, the projects
Not-
that you're
well, they're more
considering
of-
ARPA funds?
I think they're more of like emergency.
Emergency,
Yeah.
like the well that we have to replace at the recycling center. So that was one of the things that we had identified, and
It was something else.
I think it was the transition from this being the meeting space to possibly out in the community room.
Okay.
All right, so we can, does anybody have any recommendations for how I can change my wording?
Do you have specific wording? I know you didn't really state specific wording in the
Right.
meeting, so because these are minutes, but,
I guess you should say that maybe that, ARPA funds will be used in accordance with the directions by the,
Federal guidance.
by the federal
Right, yeah.
guidance. And if those fall within that category, then they'll be utilized for these projects.
Okay, and maybe
Thank you.
just, yeah.
And then that would show up on this sheet as a source of
Funds,
funding
right,
Exactly.
correct.
for those that are capital projects.
Right.
But the ARP, I mean, they're
They have
done.
to be
Yeah,
utilized
it has
this
to be
year.
fully expended this year.
Right, we have to
I'm sorry?
finish.
The ARPA funds need to be fully expended in 2024, so they
Fine.
probably won't make their way on.
To the
Oh, I
CIP.
see.
Unless one of these projects was,
Qualify.
deemed to qualify.
How much is left?
115,000, I believe.
Have these been reviewed to see if you could use them for any of these things, or you got plans for them?
We haven't, we've just been kind of leaving it in reserve for all the other items that have just come up and blindsided us,
Like the well.
like the well.
The well?
The well at the recycling center needs to be replaced, it's compromised.
Was that an accident with the backhoe?
Yes.
That's a nice way of putting it. Okay.
I mean, it does happen, you know what I mean, if you move or you're plowing, whatever, stuff's underneath the snow.
Been there.
It's, right, I knew you could relate. You just, I don't know if in the future maybe like a barrier or some warnings or something, or,
Well, there was a well tile around it. But it was in the area of some old culverts and stuff, so the assumption was that it was something that had just been tucked off to the side. It
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
identified as a
I gotcha.
well location.
well, I gotcha.
But to your point,
Yes, maybe
Yes.
identify.
Now that we know where it is, it will, well,
It
when we know
happens.
when
We
the
all
new
make
one
mistakes,
is,
you know what I mean? It
it'll be
does
better
happen.
identified.
Especially when the snow comes or whatever, you can't see, you don't know where the edge is of something.
We can't even find the leach field at the library, so.
So I talked to my manager, foreman, and he's a master plumber too in Mass. And he says they do have that. They send down the mouse or whatever, and they just use a tracking tool to track it and see where it goes. I mean, so that is something the plumber should be able to find for you.
Yeah.
But it should be, isn't on the plans or something when it was designed?
Oh, way back when.
Engineering, because that's what Son does, not engineering, he does septics, you know what I mean? I just found this out. That's all he does now, you know?
It depends on when it was.
Let's get back to the minutes.
Yeah.
All right, could we include what the third quarter trust fund balances were? It said they were reviewed, but it doesn't say what they were.
I think probably the cleanest way to do that is I can attach it
Okay.
to the minutes.
Sure, that's fine.
Then we don't have to go through and
Add
list it
them all.
out.
And the last question I had on here was, it's on my second page, but I don't, when it printed, I didn't have the little numbers next to it. But to make life a little bit easier for you,
Backside.
109. Line 109, this is more of a question. It says, Marston is currently in phase 1, committee needs to be revitalized. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the word revitalized means in the context of these minutes. I don't know what you mean by that. So I'm looking for clarification, and I'm looking for, funding is presently coming from impact fees. When Marston Street was approved by the voters, we were told that that would be the only time the tax dollars would be used for Marston Street. So I'm questioning why any tax dollars or impact fees are being used on Marston Street when it was specifically said in that meeting that the $100,000 that got put forth to Marston Street that would be the last time that voters would be asked to fund anything related to that project.
Well, the impact fees were established for the Marston project, so when they were established, the impact fees.
Again,
Which are not,
at that meeting, voters were told that that $100,000 would be the only time that funds would be used, that everything else was going to come from grants and projects and whatever. I don't know where people thought it was going to come from, but I'm just putting it forth because I know that that's what the voters were told in that
probably
deliberative session.
probably from taxation, raising and appropriating funds.
No, that's not the message that was sent to taxpayers in that deliberative session.
Okay.
But
And then the, I think that it's referring to the Marston Committee that was initially part of developing the Marston project and determining, that's the committee that is talking about being revitalized, because there was a multi-phase project initially
It's still in
presented.
phase 1.
So it's still in phase 1, so if it was to move any farther forward, it's suggested that the committee maybe is revitalized to consider the options of that. So that's what the writing of that 109 is discussing. I don't know if you feel like it needs to be,
The Marston project is currently in phase 1 of its, what was it, a conceptual?
Of its design, I mean, it's a 3-phase.
And the Marston Committee needs to be
There's a study there
revitalized.
that shows, that describes it, when they instituted the impact fee. They did a study on how much to do, and it kind of explains the whole process there, if I remember right.
yeah, as part of the impact fees, they have to do that. It's an
Yeah.
extensive study.
So I think we can amend line 109 so that it reads a little bit better to the general public, and then put your comments into record for this meeting. Does that make sense?
sure, that sounds fine with me.
Alan, you did all these notes,
I did.
Yeah, good.
so you had to sit through the meeting twice.
I did. Because I didn't take very good notes at the meeting.
No, you can't when, you
It's hard
can't
to
when
do
you're
both.
participating.
It's really hard
This
to,
was a lot of information, so.
Yeah,
yeah.
well, that was a compliment,
Thank you.
disguised a little bit, but,
I mean, I wasn't even here, and I felt like I was here after reading it, so.
yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's good. I always, tread that fine line of, am I putting too much detail or not enough?
My only other question, and it probably makes sense just for, on line 23, it says Ms. Tabasco stated the school does go out to 2029, but there are no requests at this time. I think the assumption is there's no requests for 2029 at this time,
Yeah.
not that
Okay.
there's no requests for the CIP. Just to clarify that it's, or for that year.
Okay, so the town schools, stated the school CIP goes out to 2029, but at this time, there's no request for 2029?
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes sense, just to.
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion as amended?
I motion we approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second it too.
All right, motion by Tim DeBrio, seconded by Bob Kelly, all in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye. You can't vote.
can't vote, I wasn't here.
Oh.
I abstain.
All right. So 1, 2, 3. 5, 1, and 0. All right. So where are we at on the town and school plan review? I guess we didn't really update the agenda much. Do we want to start with that, or do we want to start with the narrative? Because I think that was the basis of tonight's meeting, correct?
Yeah, because I don't think a whole lot's changed in the,
Well, I did update it after the last meeting, and I forwarded it to everybody. Charlene had requested it so she could bring it back to the planning board that Wednesday. I think there were some additional notes that you had made, but we didn't get those incorporated yet back in. I think the Wednesday, the highlighted version that
Yeah.
you sent over to me last week.
because like the asphalt road maintenance and reconstruction, the proposed warrant article for this year is 500,000.
Correct.
Right, and it says 6.
It says 6.
Although it does say warrant / operating budget, so the total
Okay,
would be
yeah.
6, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
That makes sense.
true. 500,000's in the warrant.
Yeah.
Hand it out tonight.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
I
Yeah.
guess that's still covered.
It should be dated. This is the,
Yes,
this will
very
be the
much.
final.
No, and then the pickleball court.
Paving has been pulled out.
Yeah.
What about the pickleball court? I see it. Warrant-
We're gonna see if we can do that within the regular paving. We're gonna see if, when we bring the paving contractor in, we're gonna find out how much it's gonna cost. So hopefully it'll be reduced rather than a specialized paving project.
Yeah, part of,
But it's listed on here as the warrant article.
Correct. And that
And it
got,
was not-
it's not
Right.
actually on a warrant article for 2024. It was removed by the Board of Selectmen.
and then the community center back building. There's a warrant article this year for $50,000.
Is that in here at all?
No, it says 100 for next year. Which,
Where-
that could be what it could cost next year, but there is a warrant article right now to start.
Yeah, with the 50.
Yeah.
But we're leaving the 100 for the second year, correct? Or,
I would think so.
yeah,
I guess it depends on what we can get accomplished with that 50.
talking about the community center back building
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
thank you.
Administration.
So that's gonna change from this sheet to,
We're adding in the $50,000 for 2024, so yeah, it should have $50,000 in 2024
and that's for a study or to clean it out?
to
or-
start cleaning it out.
Yeah, you're
The
gonna-
first goal is to seal up between what's back there and the livable space.
So so there's gonna be a warrant article for that, are you gonna?
Yeah,
Okay. And then, based on the findings, next year might be different,
yeah.
Okay.
2025.
And then the building maintenance fund, there's a warrant article for 150,000.
150,000, we had it down for 90,000.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's changed also?
Yeah.
Yes.
We got 90 here, but it's gonna be 150?
Yeah,
Is this with a hiring of somebody?
Nope, this is adding to the expendable trust fund for the building maintenance needs. Last year, we raised 90,000, we've almost fully expended it for 2023.
this is called the Emergency Trust Fund?
Expendable.
Expendable Trust Fund.
And I looked up the difference, Gene.
Yeah,
So, for all intents and purposes, the funds are the same as far as an expendable trust fund and not a revolving fund, but what's the other
Capital
one?
reserve fund.
A capital reserve fund. The difference is that a trust fund can accept donations. And the trust fund, the other expendable trust funds can only be raised through taxation.
And so is it 150 across the board now?
It's just 150 for this year.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it'll be 90, at least right now, okay.
The other one that was removed is the fire and rescue flooring replacement miscellaneous repairs for 12,000. That has been removed because we discovered that we should probably get some updated quotes. It was a couple of years old, and there was question of what really needed to be replaced at the fire station. So our facilities manager has gone up there with a few flooring companies to see what exactly needs to happen, and he's pulled together quotes on that. So we just felt that we weren't ready to put that on as a warrant article, and, you know, it is possible that we might be able to sneak that in under the regular building maintenance, rather than have it as a capital improvement.
who's the facilities manager?
Alan Trant.
Oh, yeah,
That was the warrant, that was to hire a person to,
last year.
yeah.
So we just brought him on board before the close of the year. I think he came in on board the second to last week in December.
And then same thing with the base radio replacement, right?
Correct.
That's a scratch also?
So are they fully removed from the plan or just moving a year out?
I think both, well,
The
again,
base radio plan, the base radio replacement, I think we were waiting on grant funding potential.
yep. So it's just more research has to be done. It most likely it won't be done this year.
Is it eligible for ARPA?
Is it what?
Eligible for ARPA funds?
For
would have
that,
to
no, I don't think so. Not from what I've read. I don't think that would qualify.
I don't know the answer. So it's gonna be in the future then?
Yes.
Push to the following year, or?
I would say probably for next year, that's what the Board of Selectmen talked about, right? And then, but as far as the cost, I guess we could leave,
The 15.
The
I mean,
15,
if it
but-
costs a little more, I mean.
yeah.
Right, I mean, the CIP is mostly for planning, so I know we're adjusting 24s, but really, the goal is for forward planning, you know, so, so if it is appropriate, if you think it's, would be more likely next year, we could just bump it to
Yeah.
To
25.
be announced?
For both, so you're thinking the flooring is gonna is gonna happen this year,
If,
be pushed?
It depends on what it comes in at for what needs to be replaced. I think originally it was the main hallway in the office space. But I don't, I think in a preliminary conversation that I had with Alan last week, I believe they thought that it could just be stripped down and put a heavy layer of wax, that it wasn't at the point of needing replacement right now.
Okay.
But I really want to get his report on that
Okay.
first.
So would you recommend just removing it altogether? Or pushing that to next year as well?
I think if we push it to next year, and then if it looks like we
happens,
can
then you
remove
just
it, then.
remove it from the plan.
On the capital reserve fund of the fire and rescue, that's a vehicle capital reserve fund
Yeah, and breathing apparatus.
apparatus. What's the balance now?
$113,000 is at the end of the third quarter of last year.
And fire engines now cost $1 million, probably. Okay. So it's looking at the schedule of when we need a new engine. Doesn't look like until, where are we, Gene? There we are.
Major piece TBD.
Yeah, 20,
25.
28, 27 maybe, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Well, that would, engine, engine 2, engine 3, no engine 1, am I missing
Anchor
something?
one.
Tanker? Would that be the tanker?
2025.
Oh, tanker 1.
The tanker
So we
was-
have 3 engines, if you will. The first one is tanker in 2025. So we got 100, 200, 300, 400,000. Leave it in there.
Yeah, next year they may need to reassess about
Yeah.
what's going in those.
And it's gonna be by warrant. Interesting.
What, the fund?
Yeah, usually they're always
Yeah,
warned, right?
those are warrants to go into the fund.
Yep.
So, these culvert replacements for Kelsey and Cooper, we think it's gonna last till 2026?
Well, they're still in the
Hearing the
engineering and,
how dire it is.
yeah,
do we
they're
really
still in the
think-
engineering and design phase right now.
Okay,
That's the warrant article that we raised in
Right.
2023, the 35,000 apiece, so I don't know that they'll last. But that's what we have it planned out for the expenditure.
okay, all right, just curious.
On the subject, just briefly, the state's still coming in tonight later to do a
Yes.
presentation? Thank you.
7 o'clock.
Do we wanna identify the difference in the amounts between the warrant versus the operating budget for asphalt, road maintenance and reconstruction, or are we okay with it just being the way it's written there?
I think it's gonna fluctuate year to year.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but do we care? Does the public care?
And
If
they
they know.
they would see it in the document this year's anyway, because it'll be on the warrants.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if they,
It got changed again, right? It was 300, and then it got changed again?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's 100
Well,
in the
last year it
budget.
got changed, and this year it got changed again.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
100,000 in the budget.
How much?
100,000 in the budget, and 500,000 is on a warrant. With 2 different funding sources.
And some was gonna be encumbered?
Yes, and we encumbered monies that were unexpended in 2023.
Now, that 150,000 on the sign, is that also going towards the buy this down? Or is that buying down the overall budget? Last year, there was like 200 to buy down some warrant articles, right?
No, the 150,000 was earmarked just to buy down that warrant article for the road reconstruction.
Okay.
Any changes to the school?
No, that's what I was looking at. I think this is the most updated. I was just gonna verify.
Is the,
House break.
I just wanted to double check that all the fundings, but I believe, looks,
Did the school usually comes in under budget, did that happen for 2023? The school usually comes in under budget and doesn't draw all there.
do you
Well,
mean
we mean
from,
under budget, because they're not,
do you mean for our fund balance at the end of the year?
Yeah.
Or, so our audited, our end of year 22. So
Oh, yeah,
our-
that's in
'cause
June.
Because we're June, so we ended a year in June and we're in a new fiscal year, in a new year now. So in June, we did not fund our warrants this past year. So we only had $80,000. So that funded our first warrant. So our additional warrants after that, that come from fund balance, were not funded this year. So, this upcoming, vote, the school chose to, put our building reserve funds to raise and appropriate and not come from fund balance for the building reserve capital reserve fund. And then the additional, funds would still be from fund balance for this year anyway. But looking forward, now that we have our own SAU and business administrator and really looking at our own budgeting, looking to see if that's reasonable to fund them from fund balance, if we don't have a fund balance annually, if our budget is truly tight, right? And, you know, high school costs a lot, and so even a couple move-ins can come from the budget. We had previous years, and, you know, COVID, we had a significant extra that was sitting in because we were short buses and all sorts of things. And one year, just a bus would give a couple, you know, 100,000, whatever, you know, if they can't find a driver, they don't charge us. So there have been savings that I've found in the past, but it's a pretty tight budget, so we'll see what happens this year. But I think.
You had a lot of just facility issues this year that were I mean, I went to facilities on Friday, and the air handlers, I was like, oh my gosh, what else is gonna?
Right, yep, and I think we're at the point, that's, you know, looking at the CIP, we're at the point now with the building and the age of it, it's really when things start to really kind of big mechanical things start to go. So I think it's almost 30 years. So that's where you really start to see those things really need to be replaced. So, and when they come up emergently, and that's what I'm talking about, hopefully those culverts don't fail before we've, you know, taken out a bond to pay for them. Similarly with the school, you know, we're hoping that things can last as long as, as they can.
So you're gonna do a final?
Yes, we'll have to do a final one for inclusion in the annual report.
And this is the capital improvement committee, this is gonna go in the town report? Is that correct?
Yep,
Yes.
that's the narrative.
Yeah. The one I picked up tonight.
Could you add my name to it? I'm on the committee.
Oh, it was on there.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll put mine in there too.
Whoops.
Since you wrote it, you might as well.
Oh, no, it was Tim that wrote
It was
it.
me. But it was on there before, right?
I thought it
This
was.
is my first year, so probably not.
No, I mean the other drafts. Oh, you weren't
Oh,
here.
she wasn't here
I
at the
wasn't
last
here
did.
last
meeting.
week. I wasn't here last meeting, so I don't know if it was on there.
Just make sure.
What's the other?
But it's okay. No big deal.
Hold on.
What was the
I'm
other
missing
handout
one.
tonight that was 2000 and,
Fire department.
what was that handed out for tonight?
Let me make sure.
It was just a proposed new fire station, 2006. Is that what you're talking
Paving
about?
around?
Yeah, is it pertinent to
So that
tonight?
came from an email from Charlene Anderson. She emailed this afternoon and suggested that we look into that information.
What the hell do I do with it?
I'm just trying to find it here. She didn't email the entire committee.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't see anything.
She said there have been some questions related to plans for the fire department expansion. I suggest you read the building committee's report in 2006.
Oh, that's,
Town annual report. Also, if you look at the Board of Selectmen minutes, you'll find information related to the contractor permits, et cetera. The design plans are likely either in the planning board files in the back of community center building or at the fire department. I suspect likely the first two locations would be where to start. Also, there was a presentation given at town meeting, and those meetings used to be recorded and played on Channel 22, although I don't know if those recordings.
does that
have been
relate
kept.
to the police department then?
Yeah, so that's the other one that should be moved, is the police department for $40,000 is a warrant article for this year.
Yes, you're correct, Tim. So that one has been moved up to 2024.
Did you get that? That 2006, I saw it, but I seem to have misplaced
So
it.
the 40,000 that's in 2025 is going over to 2024.
Is it right up there, Gene?
Station.
Very top, right there.
Yeah.
No, that's mine. That's
No.
on this.
Is that it?
This?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
thank you, good eye.
217.
What are we talking about, the 40,000?
The 40,000 would be, where is it? Where are we looking at?
Yes, the fourth one
Right here.
down.
That is going to here.
Oh,
So,
within the operating budget, which is,
The main parking.
No, that's gonna be a warrant article.
okay, so we changed that.
Yeah.
Reno,
yeah, so that's warrant article. And we're not putting anything else in there? for the police department, what's the 250 for?
So that was just a placeholder apparently that was placed there by the last committee, as far as it's gonna be way more than.
Yeah, it's gonna be way more than
Yeah.
that, so why aren't we,
Yeah.
you know,
It's a kind of a.
speculating up?
It's just placeholder, but
Again, I wasn't on the committee.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
what,
wasn't either.
I know.
For the 40,000?
No, the 250.
For the
250,
250, I mean, it's gonna cost
2027.
more than $250,000 to build a
Yeah, I
new
think there's a zero
fire
missing.
department.
I think there's a zero missing.
Yeah, right, yeah, I
I
think there
thought
might
too,
be
I
a
thought it was
zero.
2.5 million.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I don't
It's
remember
according to
putting
how
that dollar
complex
amount
you
in.
get.
That was from last year's plan?
Yeah.
The 250?
Yeah.
I think that might be,
I think, I don't know if it dates back further.
No, it was really, I believe it was brought up last year as something that needed to be done. I remember the 40,000 again and a lower number looking at some planning phases, but I don't remember where 250,000.
and I also don't know if 2027 is realistic, given the condition of the building. And do we really think 2027 is realistic?
In
As
what way
far
should be
as-
done sooner?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Oh.
Well, I mean, I think if you think about the $40,000 being done this year, and then you wait, by the time they do all the engineering and permitting and all that stuff, then maybe it should be moved to 2026.
yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering if it's,
It just, it's more of, I think, the balance too, because if you're looking at going to bond for the culverts in 26 and 28.
Right.
I'm not sure you want to go for two multi-million-dollar bonds in one
Yeah.
year.
yeah,
You're
true.
looking at the
So-
school though, 2026
So that
too, right?
the school is
25.
25,
5 for the school.
26, I mean, that's a lot of bonds.
20,
Okay, I guess
20,
we can-
26, a big year.
So, and it does take, I mean, I guess if they're starting in 24, but it does take a while, even, I know from when the school was looking at a full build, it takes a while for plans and surveys, all of that stuff.
But I don't think it's gonna take 3 years, do you? I mean, I don't know.
It took 18 months from start to when they actually presented plans for the school.
Yeah, it took a while, because you have
So
to.
then it was- yeah,
you're
it was a
paying-
full
But
2
I would
years.
say, I think we spent 90,000.
It was 90,000.
maybe, for architectural drawings and all of that, because they have to do wetland, I mean, there's a lot of things that have to happen, depending, especially,
Well, I think at the very least, we have to change the amount, because
Yeah.
that's not realistic in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form. Whether we leave it in 27 or we move it to a different year, it's,
I actually wonder if there should be another, maybe lower amount that gets put in another year. I think.
For
40,
engineering?
I'm not sure it's gonna cover what it'll cost even to prepare for, a build. And if a lower number is more reasonable in 25 or 26 to finalize a plan, that would then, happen. But I would, that would be guessing.
40,000 has been earmarked just to say, to work off of the potential, is there feasibility to expand off the existing fire station?
right.
I think that's all the 40,000 is to do, not necessarily come up with a full set of plans.
So you're gonna leave it at 250 for 2027? Because the
I don't know what 250,
source, the fund source might change to bonding,
not to operating budget, that's for sure.
No,
no?
not,
Yeah, it would
no.
have to, no, I said not operating budget is what I said
Yeah,
for that one.
yeah, no.
All right, I'm,
So maybe we move, for now anyway, the $40,000 obviously to 2024, and then maybe add another 40 for 2025, as far as engineering design? Is that what you're thinking, Alan?
Based on,
I
based
mean,
on
I
the
was thinking the
school being
$40,000 would
90,000.
get us both, but no.
If you look at the library parking lot, you know what I mean, 2020, that's just the, that's the building.
Yeah.
right, and it does, I think because some of it's, drafts of architectural drawings, you're paying
Yeah, you've been
for
through
those
this.
services, yeah, at the school. Again, I was not on the board when they initially started that process, but I do know, I believe it was 90,000 for the total of that, but I think that covered survey, there was an extensive process. The other thing is because it was attached, gonna be next to our building, there was a lot that had to happen to look at our mechanical system, could things hold the load? So there may be less, for the town, but it depends if it goes next to the fire department. Would they have to then look at
Yeah.
you know, septic and things there, you know, there's just a lot of pieces, so. I don't know, you could maybe leave 40 in next year too, for the 2025, just to, I don't know.
I
Those
agree.
are all, you know, speculations, I don't really, it's not my area of
What should we put
expertise.
down as a figure for 27 for an actual build?
That
We
is
need to
a-
put something more than that, because that's not realistic.
So it's,
What did the fire station cost to build?
Initial, does it say it in
Isn't
this?
that like 3.75?
I don't know.
doesn't give it on this report.
Does it say?
But, so we're talking two issues, can we deal with one at a time? The 40,000, should we leave that in for 24 and 25?
Yes.
Yes,
So
I think that makes
that's
sense.
agreed
Yeah.
upon?
I think so.
I do too. And now we're talking about the 250, what should we bump that to?
Because it's-
Well, that's what I was wondering with the fire station. It's gonna be similar. I mean, there's gonna be bays, not as many as fire trucks, but the cruisers, they gonna put them inside bays or anything, or park
We're
outside?
gonna have like a mezzanine level for your office space,
I mean,
so.
you can look at surrounding towns, how they set theirs up, you know what I mean, maybe get some ideas. You know, I know Barrington just built a brand-new one recently, right up there.
Yes,
I think Madbury has.
there's got to be a division there between police and fire.
Right.
And then is that-
Essentially, you're only gaining one wall,
Right.
maybe.
Is that footprint large enough to house next to the
Supposedly.
fire department? Well,
Who knows?
it
Yeah.
was when the, you know, they floated it when they built it, but I think the police department's larger than when they built the fire department. So I don't know what size, I don't even know, you know, what they're looking for size.
How much
Is
square
that-
footage do they need? What,
And I think that's what the $40,000
well, yeah, we'll figure out.
get an answer to that
Part of the-
question.
See, that would have been nice to know if you had to shift the fire department down one side a little bit to squeeze the, you know, police in there originally. And like you said, the septic, that was another good idea, because like, you know, we built, you know, the builder put in 4-bedroom septics, even though I have a 3-bedroom house, I'm oversized,
Right.
And it would have been a good idea, hopefully someone thought of it, oversize that septic for the expansion of the police station ahead of time, because there's not much money to add it, it's just plastic
Right, when you
piping.
first
The
build
money's
it.
digging in, putting all the clean sand
So that's what their first year, next year, 40,000 should scare up some of these
in.
things.
Right, some of these
They
questions.
may not have an answer, but at least there'll be a consideration. Who do you hire for that, a consulting, the school's been through it before.
Engineering?
Now, we're through it again. We just did an RFI for the a modular addition, because there's excavation and things. So that all depends. If it can't go at the fire department, then you're talking a larger dollar amount for the project if you're excavating and putting a building somewhere else. So if you know, I think to ballpark a number is really hard. I don't know if the sense is to
I think,
put.
I
a
agree.
million?
We should probably keep it on there as a placeholder until we have more information as to what the future is.
But somebody's point, though, it's, 250 is unrealistic.
Right.
I mean, I would put, honestly, I would put at least 2 million there. If we're gonna put a placeholder, we might as well be at least somewhere in the realm of possibility.
Right.
I agree.
Because 250,000 is not in the realm of possibility. 2 million
No.
might. You know, we might be short 1 million, we might be short 2 million, I don't know, but
That sounds like
Closer.
realistic.
What would be agreed upon number?
I agree with 2 million.
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to get some ideas with the fire station cost, to try to compare it, but 2 million is a good
But
start.
as a placeholder,
Yeah.
I think it's realistic to have
Yeah.
Yeah.
considered.
And then
Can we,
hopefully after this year, we'll have
we'll have a better.
better target.
Better
Makes
idea,
sense,
yeah.
but to
So-
keep it on this realistic from the CIP, I would agree on 1 million.
2 million?
2 million or?
2 or 1,
Two.
They were saying two, yeah.
We said 2. I said 2. She
said two.
agreed, he agreed.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're looking at 2 million, and that's for
Trailers.
modular units to be, to be put down, yeah,
Good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Therefore-
like a prefab.
So this will, on the revised, this will show 2 million in that spot. And then, of course, that drives the bottom line for that particular year up to, okay?
Yep.
Just want to make sure, 1, 2,
Who presents to the budget committee? You?
What's that?
CIP findings?
Warren.
Yes. Yeah, one of us, me or Megan's on there, or.
Of course, it's a little late to do anything this year, but
Yeah, we're pretty much,
The budget committee's pretty much done.
What's next?
So can,
solar, oh, solar got removed, okay.
solar, go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah, that was, we get some,
So it was a 0 line, so it probably got moved.
Oh, under the school.
Under the school, there's been discussion about adding solar when the pitched roof is reshingled. But because we haven't explored it yet, because it's a couple years out, there's obviously, as the town knows, there's different ways to do solar. So there was not any dollar amount put there yet, because it could go different ways. But there was supposed to be a line, I think, for solar panels.
And I might have just hit it on the assumption that
It was
wasn't a
zeroed,
project.
and so, yeah.
So you want that added in?
Yeah, just back in, I think it was in the previous draft,
Okay.
and, I don't know where.
oh, yeah, I do see that's a lot of,
Solar panels, yeah, so funding source said no initial cost, and it was put in 2027.
27, okay.
Again, if we redo the roof and the same time can put, I don't, we just put it after the year after the roof was
Okay.
proposed.
But there's no dollar amount.
No, and it was only brought up as an option if we wouldn't do solar before we fix the roof. So then once we fix it, it would, I think, be a discussion.
But hopefully we'll be more educated at that point to determine whether it would be a better investment to purchase it outright.
Purchase
rather
them
than
ahead of
That's
time,
lease it.
that's the only way.
the
of
no
doing
initial
it.
cost, but then you don't see the,
Unfortunately, that is the only way to do it.
Solar.
Yeah.
Solar, buying it
Buy it
yourself.
yourself. Buy it outright.
It's all based on all the, rebates, incentives and stuff from the federal, the local, I'm sorry, and the state.
So this buyout for the town solar power system administration, $121,000 in 2026. That's a firm number, Ellen?
No.
And that's
That was if we were to buy it in 2024, which was when it was originally earmarked for the town to purchase the lease out. Obviously, we extended it out further, so because we didn't put it on as a warrant article, I just kind of, backburnered it a little bit. We have more research to do. We have to see if we can continue into the existing lease, extend that out further, or whether it's going to be, it makes sense for us to purchase it and then accept the maintenance and the repair down the road.
How would that be displayed on here then? Because if I were reading this without our conversation,
It's in there for 2026 at the 121,000, so that,
address that again next year?
correct.
And I don't know, I have a different number for the pitched roof, actually, so I don't know where this number came from. So let me see if it was on a different. I have in my worksheet from our business administrator, 248,000 for the roof, so I don't know where, that's a very specific number.
It is a very specific number.
And so I don't, let me just.
Sounds like an estimate.
But it, yeah, 274,691, but I don't. Let's see where we at with the pitched roof, 26.
Yeah, that is very specific.
Yeah, that's not, and of course, in this estimate it says 217, which is not the same number, so let me find an older one. I apologize, I don't know how that, I have the, I can pull up the digital copy if I need it.
Yep, so it was on. It was on the original for December. I'm just trying to look
Yeah,
back through the
that's what I
history.
have too here, but that's not, huh. Was that on last year's capital or on, in the plan? Is that what ended up in there? So I'm actually looking at something from last year that has that dollar amount too. We can update that
To the 248,000?
to 248,000, which is what I have from our business administrator in our most recent packet from him, so.
This one.
So the
248.
reshingle pitched roof, 248,000. And actually, I think the road and sidewalks was rounded up to 50,000. It's, again, I think they typically put a little bit more rounder numbers in this. 248
So 248,000 and 50,000?
and 50,000, yeah,
Kilns are
rounded.
expensive, huh? Jeez.
Yes.
I mean, that can change with inflation stuff, and you're like 2 years away too.
Right,
so-
yeah, and that's probably just the
They'll probably
last
go higher, if
estimate we
anything.
had. So. Just to
Now, is
update.
that, yeah, that's just a shingle, right? That's not maybe thinking about metal roofing, they last longer.
Yeah, we have not really had any discussions about, it's been on the CIP, and we discuss it and, keep moving it forward on, the yearly plan, but there's been no discussions on kind of what media or anything. It's still a couple of years out. That's it.
Anything else?
That's it.
So I will update this again and send it off to you.
So, because we can't all respond in the email, so can I just go over all of the changes? And then
We can approve
we
it.
can kind of approve it, that way there, and you can just send it out for review, and if we have issues, we're gonna have to meet again.
Yep.
Okay. So starting at the top with the police station renovation and replacement planning, we're gonna move change it from operating budget to warrant. 2024 will be $40,000, leave $40,000 for 2025, and then 2026, $2 million.
So do you feel that it should say
Warrant /
Warrant
bond.
bond.
warrant / bond?
Yeah.
Yep.
And do you think that should say station? Is there discussions of renovating the current space?
No,
No.
Yeah.
So I would say station
replacement.
replacement planning /
Build.
build or implementation. Because the 2 million's obviously not for planning, so, yeah, sorry, so / renovation.
And then removing the $250,000 from 2027.
Right, replacing that with 2
Replacing
million.
2 million.
Yeah, in 2026.
Okay.
And then in the fire and rescue, moving the flooring and base radio replacements to 2025.
Correct.
Oh. We crossed them out for 2024.
Correct.
Because we need to get updated
Quotes,
quotes.
and then
We're
apply
gonna
for-
plug them in right now for,
2025.
Correct.
Okay.
The baler at the recycling center, that actually needs to be removed as well. $12,000.
Just remove totally?
I think we need to push it out.
So it's being removed or moved out?
Well, it's,
We need to figure out if we need it.
we need to figure out if we need it. Right now, we're hauling the cans to Harding's on a recycled truck from the highway department. So what the lifespan of that truck is going to be is going to determine how long we can do it. So
It looks a little rough.
it does, it's had a little bit of TLC, which will hopefully
Yeah.
schlep it through a little bit longer, but we know initially from quotes that we received, I think we were looking at closer to 16,000 for our baler.
Yeah.
So we at least, if we push it out to 2025, we should do it before that
16.
increased amount.
Why don't we do that then?
So 16,000 and
16
25.
for 2025.
and no 12.
And it'll still be warrant article, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
60 or 16?
16.
It's cheaper than a truck.
Yeah, amen.
Okay.
What year, I'm sorry, what year do we want to push it out?
2025.
Okay.
And then No other changes
Till we get to
until we,
rec.
the rec, removing the basketball court paving.
To,
Just removing it.
Just remove it completely.
We're gonna see if we can fit it into the paving
Paving.
project.
And
You have
then,
any leftover or something? Yeah, when they come pave driveways, and they just throw it away because
Right.
it's hard, you know what I mean? I get it, that's smart.
and then administration adding $50,000 to the community center back building in 2024. And then also building maintenance, adding 150,000, or changing it, $250,000 for 2024.
Correct.
how is that funded?
Well, we funded it last year through a warrant article for $90,000 and then expended the whole thing. The thought was to have it building like you would any other fund and be able to use, but
So the balance now is effectively zero.
I think there's
was it 12?
Pretty
$12,000 or
close.
$15,000 left in it.
In the big numbers we're talking about, it's,
It's for all
For
the
projects,
town
for sure.
buildings, you know what I mean? It's for all the buildings, not just specific.
Can't keep ignoring them, so.
No, that's true.
We gotta figure it out,
The Band-Aids are getting expensive.
Yeah.
I said the Band-Aids are getting
yeah,
expensive.
you know.
And then for the solar panel, for the school, for solar panels, what do you put in 2027, just asterisks? Or
I'm trying to think what it looked, that's what I was trying to find, what it looked like last year. That would be in this one. And it did say for fund source, no initial cost, because that's what originally was presented to us as the board, was a, no upfront cost, one, but, I think until we know any options, it just said, oh no, that's TBD, space needs, where's solar panels? Apparently it had, on my document, has nothing, so I don't know, we have done an asterisk, with the TBD funding before,
It'd probably be based on the max space, right, for the roof, the size of it, because you probably want to fill the whole thing as much as you
well,
want.
right, that's, we're at the point now where we really haven't researched it at all,
Well, even the square footage, if you're thinking about having the roof replacement, they're gonna tell you the square footage in that estimate, you know what I mean? Just take that square footage and
Right,
tell
and
the
use
solar
it.
companies, and that's the max, it's definitely the
but I know
max.
sometimes then there's also line of, like how much, so, sun and trees and things like that, that can also impact what they can do with
That is
solar
true.
panels.
That is
So,
true.
so that's why it's kind of just in a, maybe we do it.
I gotcha. I mean, right
kind of
now, when I
plan.
called, they just Google Earth your address, and
Yeah.
they say, and that's what they told me up front. Nope, you're not a candidate, you're not southern exposure, like, darn, you know what I mean? It's.
well, at least the
it's that
trees
simple.
are on the north side.
Yeah.
So,
So hopefully it would have enough on the roof. So, so either
TBD or an
TBD or
asterisk.
an asterisk or something, just so it holds the line.
okay.
I'm fine with either.
And then, did you say roads and sideways, road and sidewalks? 49,950?
We just,
change it
yeah,
to
rounded it
50.
to 50,000. And then the final one,
The roof.
yeah, the reshingle the pitched roof, I have in my notes, $248,000.
Yep.
So we'll put that number on there.
That's all of them.
So I make a motion to accept and approve the CIP plan for 2024 as amended.
Okay, motion by Tim DeBrio, second by Maureen Cambiola. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes.
Okay.
And I don't want to cut the meeting too short, but I do want to give a 15-minute warning before the Board of Selectmen meeting starts, so.
So we're gonna get an updated one of these?
Yes, I'll send an email.
Email it to us.
Are we gonna meet again?
I don't think, well, I think if there's any issues with that and we need to change it, then we would need to meet again, but that's why I wanted to get it approved as amended, so then she can just send it out, and if it's all in there as we've changed it, then we don't need to meet again.
What about approving the minutes
We could leave
of
that.
this meeting?
of this meeting.
Think about it. We could have a short
Yeah,
one.
because I think what I would like to do is, I'm going to put the requests out to the department heads late summer, and then, once I have those requests being circulated, maybe we can meet August. That'll probably be too far to review, but,
Some of the state places recommend starting much earlier. So we don't end up like this year.
yeah.
No, and I think it'll be, as Alan's working through the facilities plan and everything, is meeting.
have a
or-
better feel
Yeah,
for
exactly, the priorities and the
projects.
costs.
And
What
I
else do
think
we have
this-
to review? Do we have to review this?
Yeah, does everybody had an opportunity to,
Oh, the other statement for the town report.
My only question or comment is the paragraph, 5th paragraph that says the CIP committee will work with the Board of Selectmen over the coming years to learn more about the priorities and costs for repairs. Is this, I mean, it's not just the Board of Selectmen, because this school is also under the same plan? But you were referring to what was
I was referring
above
to that, yeah, exactly.
specifically, okay.
Yeah,
Because then it does go into the school, so I just wanted
Yeah.
to be like, the CIP doesn't only work.
so
with-
maybe, do you want me to?
So I just didn't know if there was a different way to say it.
We can
or,
add in for the repairs associated with the,
associated with the
the
Town
report.
town buildings, or town, aspects or something, just to be clear that I'll also be working with the school for theirs. Because we do not have a statement like that in our paragraph, so.
And selectmen should be plural when you're talking about a board.
Selectmen.
This will go in the town report, then the revised.
the revised.
Yes.
Yes, Jean? I just want to say good job. We got a lot accomplished in a very short period of time.
Oh, you missed our last budget meeting.
Oh, I didn't miss it. I watched it.
Until the feed shut off because we were so late?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right, we had to
Yes,
reset it.
5-hour limit. It went 50 minutes beyond.
It's good to talk about things.
Yeah.
Is the interest earned on the bank account added as revenue for,
Yes. Yep, it's shown as interest income on the
Revenues.
revenue worksheet.
It's like doubled.
Yeah, there's a lot, it's both.
123,000?
There, yeah,
It's
it's
more
pretty
than
close.
that.
I think the last time
different
that I
accounts.
reviewed it, it was around 90,000, but that was well before the close of the year.
And that's based on what, like 5%?
Yeah, it was like, well, I mean, we're receiving so much yield on the general fund, and then, obviously, the trust funds are receiving their own,
They're
which gets
managing
added
those.
back.
They bought
in.
CDs on those, some of those CDs at 4 point something at the time,
Yeah,
so.
well, that's the problem, you definitely don't want to lock time with, long-term, you know what I mean? Because with interest rates going up, you're losing money by locking it in. You know, I'd love to take some of that and invest it, like, the S&P was up like 24%, and even the politicians beat the fund managers in S&P because they do insider trading, you know what I mean? And they're getting like 30% returns.
Yeah, no, that both the school as well had high interest yields on our accounts.
They do?
Yeah.
Didn't negotiated those, I hope?
I don't know, we don't, I mean, I think it's just what we have in the accounts, because our account is more revolving, because we get, monthly or whatever, income from the town to pay the schools. So we don't have I think, the bank account that the town has sitting
Right.
with funds, but we do still have money in, accounts. So our business administrator just stated that it's much higher than it's been in years past for the interest on the account, so
Of course, it goes the other way sometimes, too,
it does. And again, yes.
when you're borrowing the money.
Do we need to
Are-
approve
are
this?
we-
Are we good with this?
Are we,
Do we
just
need
one,
to approve that?
speaking of banks and money, individuals are only FDIC insured up to 250,000. Is there some clause, even companies, and they institute sweep?
Trusts are much higher.
Trusts are much higher.
It's
From the bank? From FDIC?
for FDIC insurance.
But on a municipal level, is there anything to worry about in that sense? Are we FDI, one question, are we FDIC insured for the entire
We
amount?
should be, because it has to be within an approved financial institution.
But does that approval include insurance? I'll leave you with that.
You'll leave me with that, okay? I will let you know.
Do we need to
the
approve
narrative?
the
Yeah,
narrative?
and what I'll change that to, obviously, change selectmen to
Right.
selectmen, and then cost for repairs as referenced in the town facilities assessment report.
Yeah.
So I will make a motion to approve as amended.
I'll second.
All right, motion by me, second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Where's this come from? Yep.
It came from an NHMA presentation from last year.
Oh,
Is there anything else that
You can keep
needs
it if
to
you want.
come
Does
before the
explain
CIP committee?
Difference between the trust.
Rhino?
say again, please.
Anything else that needs to come before the committee tonight?
I think so.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Oh, what do you say?
All right, motion by Megan, second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, everyone. We'll be in touch sooner than later.